Hello everyone, welcome back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a brief look at Unity, okay? In particular, working with Unity 2D to make a 2D platformer game. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to open up Unity. Okay, and it's opening some settings up from the last game. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just come up here to File, New Project, okay? And we'll call this Robot Intro. How's that? Robot Intro. We're going to come down here to Setup Defaults, and we're going to change Setup Defaults to 2D, okay? And we're going to hit Create Project. Close out of that for now. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is our game view. Notice the tab up here says Game, okay? I'm going to come over here to Scene. All right, so this is where we actually set up our game, okay? And as you can see, I can scroll in and out, and it is set up in 3D right now, even though we are in 2D mode. This is still 2D mode. If I come up here and select this, now we're actually working in 2D, but we can actually switch to 3D if we need to arrange our assets on the Z-plane. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and select 2D here. Okay. Now, the window just opened by default, but I closed it just to show you how to open it again. The first thing that I'm going to do is go to Window, Asset Store. And that will open up the asset store within Unity. Now you can also go to assetstore.unity3d.com, okay? And these sample assets are what we're looking for right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out of that and do it all within Unity. So I'm gonna come up here and search for sample assets. Now, at the time of making this video, the beta sample assets are not included within Unity, and you still have to come in here and download them. Maybe it'll always be like that. They might end up including them with Unity. So by the time you're watching this, they might already be there. Okay, so notice how it says free. Okay, now, if you actually do a search for 2D free, you're going to find tons of free assets for making 2D games within Unity. So definitely check that out. In fact, here's another one right here, Unity Samples 2D Pack. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and hit Sample Assets, okay? Okay, and I'm just going to hit Import right here. And this might take a little bit, so I will edit the video. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to select None, okay? That way, I don't want to import every one of the samples. I just want to grab these 2D ones right here. Okay, so the sample assets 2D. Okay, and it's just these files right here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click import. And again, this might take a minute. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and close my asset store window here. Okay, and now I have some assets down here. Okay, and let's take a look what we have. So let's see here. We have this 2D folder. If we open up that, we have all kinds of stuff here. Animations, materials, physics materials, prefabs, which is one of the things we're looking for right now, scripts, and sprites. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the prefabs folder. And we have some characters already put together for us. Okay, well, we have one character already put together for us. It's a very nice character, though, and as a beginner, it's a fantastic way to just get going with Unity and start to get a grasp of how the 2D platformer workflow goes. Okay, so what I want to do is come down to the 2D character here, and I'm just going to select it and drag him onto the screen. Put him right there by the camera, okay? Actually, I can move him out of the way there. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in on him a little bit. Okay, and we have this little robot guy. Okay, so let's see. What do we see here? I'm going to switch to the hand tool and just kind of move this up a little bit. Okay, and then switch back to my grab tool, or my pointer tool, I guess, selection tool. Okay, so let's see, what do we see here? So we have a couple of green shapes here. We got this outline rectangle right here, and then this circle down here. Ground check and ceiling check gizmos on the top and bottom. So these are some things we're going to end up working with in a little bit here. Basically, the green outlines are colliders, okay? And then this ground check here lets us know when our robot's on the ground, and of course lets us know when we are hitting the ceiling, okay? And those will just, different animations will play depending on the state of your robot. And so let's see here. Let's go ahead and just press play. and he falls. Okay, so why does he fall? Okay, let's talk about that first. So this is a prefab, so it already has a whole bunch of settings put on there. Okay, and if you are making your own sprite from scratch, none of this stuff will be included. You're going to need to add it. Okay, so, and we will get there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and select the character. Come over here. And let's look at this particular component called Rigid Body 2D, okay? Now, whoops, I accidentally closed it there. Rigid Body 2D. Now, there's a selection here for gravity, all right? I'm going to go ahead and make gravity 0. Whoops, 0, okay? 0 gravity, and let's press play. Okay, so he's just floating, okay? And notice he's not standing, but he's in a falling state, okay? That's because that ground check right here is telling us there's no ground, but there's no gravity pulling our robot down. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Okay, and I'm going to come over to game scene, okay? And then I'm going to uncheck maximize on play. Maybe yours is on, maybe yours is off, okay? But now when I hit play, we can still see, you know, our components and our assets and whatnot, okay? So, let's go ahead and change that to 3, and he falls. See that? Now if I stop the game, that's going to go back to 0 because any changes you make while in gameplay mode, they're only temporary. So let's go ahead and set the gravity back to 3. And rather than there being no gravity, let's give our robot something to land on. Okay, so what do we need to add? We need to add a sprite. Okay, now you can add a PNG that you've created from, you know, anywhere. If you make something in Illustrator, or if you find something in the asset store, or just online, if you do a search for sprite sheets, holy smokes, there's thousands and thousands of them out there, and you'll get all kinds of neat, you know, little elements for your game. Okay, so I'm gonna come down here to sprites. Okay, now I have these different platforms right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab the prototype gray and drop it in. This is actually just a PNG, okay? So let's go ahead and put that underneath the robot. We'll put it down here a little bit so the robot has to fall a little bit, okay? Now, if I press play right now, it's going to fall right through that thing. Let's try it. Falls right through it. Okay, and the reason why is because there's no colliders put around this object yet. Okay, and what are colliders? Well, let me select the 2D character. Again, these green outlines right here, this circle and this rectangle, those are colliders, okay? And they've just been placed on the robot. And it's actually the colliders that are, as the name implies, colliding with other objects, okay? Not the actual robot animation itself, okay? That's why it falls right through this, is because there's no colliders on this yet, okay? So we're going to go ahead, just like the robot has some colliders, we're going to put a collider around this shape. And then this circle collider here will collide with the collider we're going to put around this shape right here, okay? So how we do that is we make sure that the... in this case, the prototype gray platform is selected. Come over here to Add Component. Come down here to Physics 2D and choose Box Collider. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this, and I'm going to let's see here, arrow down. Okay, now you probably can't see the green box collider around this because by default it just makes it the same size as the shape. Okay, if I change the y-axis, you can see it there. See that? That's the collider that's automatically placed around this object. Obviously, if we had a round object, the box collider wouldn't work. We would use the circle collider, okay? And if we had a shape that was not a square, rectangle, or a circle, we use the polygon collider. For example, I use the polygon collider on rocks or odd-shaped, you know, trees or hills, things like that, okay? Uneven ground, all right? But for this purpose, all we need is the box collider, okay? Now, the box collider here, combined with the circle and box collider on our robot, and the fact that our robot has a rigid body 2D giving it gravity, are all going to work together now. So when I press play, the robot is going to fall and land on this platform. There we go. Okay, so now our robot has something to stand on. And it's animating a little bit because it has an idle animation, okay? And that's actually where that ground check comes in, okay? Let me go ahead and stop this. Okay, see a little ground check? That ground check was placed on there so that whenever there's anything underneath touching the ground check, another collider, it lets the Unity know that the robot has ground underneath it and should play the standing animation. Okay, and if he's not on the ground, then the falling or jumping animation is played. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up a controller for our robot. Now, you have to add scripts, okay? And Unity actually works in a number of languages, but when you download the sample assets pack, you get some scripts. So let's go ahead and look at our scripts. So I'm gonna come over here and select scripts. Okay, so we got a number of C# scripts already available within the sample assets pack. All right, now the one that I'm interested in is this one right here. Okay, and it's kind of hard to read, but whoops. Oh, by the way, down here, if you adjust these, you're going to see them as files. If you bring it all the way down, you'll be able to see their full name like this, and it'll actually be in a list format. Okay, so platformer 2D user control. Okay, that's what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that script and I'm going to add it to our robot here. Okay, so I'm actually select our robot and talk about that for a second. There's a few different ways to do this. You can come over here to add component and then go to scripts, and there's the list of available scripts. Okay, you can also just select platformer 2D user control and then drag it over here to your character and drop it in. Okay, and it'll do the same thing. Come down here. There we go. Platformer 2D user control. Just like that. All right. And let's go ahead and press play. Okay. And if I arrow to the left, he walks. And see that? Back and forth. And if I hit spacebar, he jumps way up high. Okay. And yeah, so when I'm notice that the animations are changing. That's part of how this sprite is set up, is that it has this walking or running animation. It's got a jumping or falling animation, and then it has a standstill idle animation. Okay, and these are things that you're going to have to add to your sprite. All right, so I would recommend actually downloading the sample assets packet first and getting this sprite to actually function in the game. And once you have this going, you're actually moving right along because you have a working script then. Okay, and yeah, you can actually make a different character and apply the same script to it if you want. Okay, now let's go ahead. Obviously, this is a really boring game, okay? It's robot jumps once and then disappears forever. Okay, so let's go ahead and change some things around here. So we have a platform here. I'm going to come over here and actually, let's see, make this platform, we'll make it a little skinnier and then make it nice and wide, okay? And we'll move it maybe over here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit copy and paste, and we'll move another one right here. Copy, paste, move another one over here, like so. Okay, and we'll go ahead and press play. All right, so there we go. And whoops. And our robot sure jumps high. All right. Okay, so there we go. And obviously lots of stuff to adjust here. Okay, we're going to need a camera so that our character can actually be followed by a camera. Also, it looks like if I land, let's see. It's really hard to steer at this point. Right there, see how it gets stuck like that? Okay, that's something else we're going to want to fix. I don't like that feature. So there's a lot to do. But actually having a character set up like this at first is really going to get you going. Okay, and it will give you a chance to start to explore some of the neat things that comes with Unity.